that is for our heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become.
In this episode of Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby, we look ahead to this Saturday's derby between rivals Paarl Boys High and Grey College, live on Supersport. A combined total of over 300 years of history and tradition will come together on Saturday for one of the most highly anticipated encounters on the rugby calendar when Paarl Boys High meet Grey College. Grey, the pride and passion of Bloemfontein, face a stiff challenge when they make the 900-kilometre trip south to Paarl.
I think what makes it more difficult playing in Paarl than in Bloem is Paarl Boys High's field is like 5 metres shorter on each side or narrower. So the whole week prior to that game, we'll train with the 5 metre line being the touch line. And the other thing that makes it difficult playing against Paarl is that band of them. They never stop playing, and you can sing. We don't have any music instruments. We just sing, and they have this band, and it just overwhelms us.
A weekend like the Paarl Boys High weekend does afford us the opportunity to compete against them in rugby, hockey, tennis, golf, squash, debating, in various other areas. So what makes this weekend really unique is the fact that the whole school, or basically most of the school, will be involved in this particular weekend. Unfortunately, we have to travel, but I suppose being quite central in South Africa, it is possible to travel, and we certainly value all our inter-schools fixtures against our traditional rivals.
Dis ver om te ry, verseker om aanpassing om maar te gaan speel. Paarl is altyd daar daaronder by hulle en ek dink ons gaan verseker daar geniet.
Grey's just is an amazing outfit, and I think they sort of set the standard with schoolboy rugby, and everybody wants to try and reach that. So for us, it'll be just like every other game, intense in the preparation for it. But yes, the boys sort of look forward to that opportunity to welcome them here this year into the Western Cape, and we'll try and make sure that we get even better weather for them when they arrive here that suits us better. But yeah, something that we're all looking forward to, and it's an amazing opportunity to play against a school like that.
Boys High will have fond memories of their last clash with the men from Bloem at their famous Brook Street Stadium in 2012. They went into the match as underdogs and pulled off a remarkable 28-18 win. One of the heroes of the day was fly-half Jean-Luc Duplessis, son of the former Springbok wing Paarl, whose thumping crash tackle in the 30th minute inspired the men in the striped jerseys to their first win over Grey in 11 years.
Yeah, you don't come to Brook Street and have an easy game there against us. We'll push you to the death. It's a very tough place to come, and I think on that special day back last year in May, or 2 years ago, sorry, in May, I think Grey Bloem felt a bit of the heat, and they were under the pump, and they were able to push their game through thanks to the fortress and the fans. The old boys, the really old boys, from all the reunions ago, they came out, and everybody stood together, they came behind the team, and it was really great to pull that win off, not only for the team and for the school, but also for the old boys and the passionate fans and everybody supporting us.
Look, to me, it was really a proud moment. I think it's almost like something that he really was looking forward to, in a way, having a go at pulling the first team jersey over your head and having a go at the main opposition, the big games. I think he's got the big match temperament, and obviously was given the opportunity to display that. And it was sometimes, sort of nerve-wracking, to watch, and you get a bit tense on the sideline. But at the end, I enjoyed it with him.
Yes, I can remember the 2012 encounter. There was a lot of good players. Boys I had a very good team. I think they called it a dream team since they were under 14. I think at the end of the day, it was a good game, but Paarl beat us. The previous 10 years before that, I think Grey also gave him a few. So yeah, it was a good encounter.
Grey's reputation as a rugby school precedes them on their journeys. This fine institution is a cornerstone of both sport and education in South Africa.
We would like to believe that at Grey College we produce boys and ultimately men who will make a serious contribution to South African society. And part of our heritage is definitely being disciplined and being humble. So yes, we certainly pride ourselves in those characteristics.
I think more than that at Grey, we want to develop the player and give him a future, even if it's not in rugby, but whatever he's doing to be successful.
Talent is actually not the most important factor at Grey. It's just the environment and working hard to be, well, just to play around with your friends and playing touches on the field and just feeling like you belong. And that creates an environment where you're actually encouraged to take the step up to the next level.
Ja, ek dink om in 'n skool soos Grey te wees, leer mens baie dinge, nie net sport gewys nie, maar ook lewensgewys. En ek dink omdat die kompetisie so sterk is op Grey, leer dit jou net om harder te werk as enige ander speler om bo uit te kom.
Grey boys are renowned for being humble in both victory and defeat, with the famous Grey handshake, a somewhat iconic image of this school's great spirit.
Yeah, Grey College is probably known for its very famous handshake. It is a tradition that was passed on from war times where the people who were involved in manufacturing of knives, they really established that handshake. It is fairly unknown who brought that tradition back to Grey College, but since early days we have been using that handshake and it really distinguishes us from other schools.
2010 will be remembered as one of the finest Grey rugby teams ever. An unbeaten season of 15 wins in as many games saw a record 6 players selected for the South African schools team. Captain William Small-Smith has since gone on to play for the Bulls in Super Rugby, the Blitzbokke and the South African under-20 teams.
Yo, if I think back about our matric first team side, I mean, it really was a special team. I played alongside guys like Johan Goosen, Paul Jordan, Jan Serfontein, Neil Marais, Henko Venter. And the year just before that, I played with Franco Venter, Piet Lindicke. So, I mean, it really was a bunchload of talent.
2010's derby between Grey and Boys High was somewhat unfamiliar for Grey, with all the respective A teams as well as the second and third teams losing to Boys High. The first team encounter was a battle of gigantic proportions that saw the visitors come away with a 32-12 win.
I still remember in our matric game in Paarl against Paarl Boys High, Jonathan Clapland was our ref for that game. He was off for the weekend, so he came down to blow the schoolboy game. And it was really a tight contest. So we were playing in Paarl. I was the captain, and Stefan Kutsia, who plays for the Western Province at the moment, he was their captain. And it was extremely hard. But in the last couple of minutes, we just scored 2 quick tries and beat them, I think, by about 10, 15 points.
One of the defining moments in the match was Johan Goosen's try, which he scored off the famous Grey backline move dubbed Courtneys or Wallaby in years gone by. That same move was used later that year in the South African schools clash against England under-18 when Paul Jordan scored a memorable try.
We had one backline move when I was a matric called the Courtneys, where the 10 plays me flat, 12 goes on a drift, but I play 10 back on a loop. And with about 10 minutes left, we had a right-hand scrum on the just 10 meters out from the try line, and Johan Goosen came on a loop and scored underneath the poles. One of the best tries I've seen in ages.
Grey have had the better of Boys High, with 2012 standing out as the Paarl men's solitary victory in the last decade. These two great schools first met on the rugby field in 1950. In total, they have played against each other 39 times, with Grey winning 31 and Boys High 6, to go with the 2 draws in 1993 and 2011. Boys High nearly pulled off a miraculous comeback in Bloemfontein last year, losing 28-35 after being down 20 points to 0 in the 18th minute. Boys High outside centre on the day, Kurtley Grain, will be eager to avenge the defeat in 2014.
I'm honoured to put on the first team jersey. It's always an honour to put on the first team jersey, but I'm looking forward to it. A huge occasion because we lost last year, but yes, we're looking very forward to that game. It's going to be a big game. this stadium's going to be packed, and we're looking to win that one.
The Oaks showed great guts and determination to come back and fight back. And we're unlucky for them they couldn't pull it off. I mean, they would have been something special as well to beat Bloom, Grey Bloom over in Bloom.
With a new head coach in Sean Erasmus, Boys High claimed the silver medal at the Sanix Youth World Championships in Japan, losing 15-11 to Hamilton Boys High from New Zealand in the final. They have a tough fixture ahead of them, but the grey match is the one they will be desperate to win.
It's a nice, exciting venture, and looking forward to what it holds, and yeah, quite different. And Western Cape sort of being the hub of producing Springboks and that type of thing. It's quite a privilege and honour to be involved.
Mr. Erasmus, most of us have known for quite some time throughout the years with Paarl Boys High playing Glenwood. Very, very strong on the technical side of rugby. Works very well with the boys. And what's most important, I think Mr. Erasmus, as a person, fits very well into the ethical and moral fibre that we're trying to instill.
Having produced more than 40 Springboks, Grey need little to remind them of what's at stake.
Grey's change room, it must be the most special place I've seen in my life. You walk in there and every number has a board, a wooden board with all the guys who's played Springbok before in your position. And around the roof, all the walls, there's posters about slogans and logos that keep us going. And the funniest one there is George Whitehead in 2007 lost both his front teeth in a game. And they actually framed it, put it up against the wall, and it said, "I gave my 2 front teeth to play for this team."
Yeah, Grey has a lot of tradition, and it's nice to go into the change room and see all those guys that went before and did the school proud. So yeah, it's something nice to have. Not every school has that.
A grey mist will descend upon Fortress Brook Street this weekend, where a mighty Boys High army will lie in wait for a battle royale.
Big thing about Grey Bloom, you just got to go out and got to believe. That wasn't just a bunch of school kids playing rugby. And I think we went out there with the belief we've never lost to Grey Bloom. So why should we lose number trick here? We went out and we smashed them.
Today, we stand for all that is. For our heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become.
Watch Paarl Boys High versus Grey College in Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby this Saturday, live on SuperSport.